It would be easy to describe the avalanche of anti-Asian American hate crimes as the work of ignoramuses.
Communist China?
Well, isn't that where you're from? Well, isn't that where you're from? Well, isn't that where you're from?
The other interview tonight with the victim of another brutal crime, an Asian American man suddenly attacked and beaten.
At first, our top story, KPIX cameras were at the scene as another Asian was attacked in San Francisco.
A 75-year-old Asian man out for his morning walk, attacked, robbed, knocked to the ground, and left for dead.
And that breaking news comes from Atlanta. 8 people are dead after shootings at 3 massage parlors. The suspect caught after a chase in South Georgia tonight.
The only thing I don't like about the screen is time's up.
I think that's the way Dad said it, but I also think that saves a lot of the battery.
It does, it does. Where are we going?
Alright, so we all know what's been going on recently with all the Asian hate crimes. The shooting that just happened earlier in the week at the Asian massage parlors, where 8 women were killed in the shooting. All racially motivated, no matter which way you really look at it. It's very unfortunate, but where we're heading right now is we're going over to Island Spa and Sauna over in Edison, New Jersey. It's pretty much that parking lot plaza is just a whole bunch of, like, I guess you could say it's kind of like a center in Edison just for like Asian culture for the most part. There's a hashtag Stop Asian Hate rally that's going on over there, and we're basically just going there to support, show face, and of course, you know, spread some love around and show representation for the Filipino and also for the Filipino Christian community as well. So hopefully we'll be able to connect with some people and be able to stand up against racism. We'll see you guys there. An awkward moment because you don't know what to say.
Yeah, no.
it's like, hey, you here to battle racism too?
Exactly. Yeah, are you here for the fact that we're being slaughtered?
Yeah, for real. It's okay. So we just arrived here at Island Spa and Sauna. You can see that from the clips that we've shown, there's actually a good amount of people that have shown up. A lot of people coming out to support. It's great. A lot of people making signs right here. A lot of representation coming out here right now.
Yeah, we are out here, you know, stop Asian hate, stop the slaughter of our people, stop the injustices, the harassment, the attacks, the murders.
I'm just recording for a vlog. It's okay if I have you guys like just writing your signs?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Is it like your personal blog?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. If we give you your name, I'll follow you and stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Better. What's your name?
Betty.
Betty, Tristan.
Tristan, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys, bro.
So one of the pains that we have as Asian Americans is the pain of being invisible. For far too long, Asian voices have been drowned out, whether it's in the media, in our workplaces, or in simply our everyday interactions. And this leads to a distorted picture of us. At the same time, we are considered the moderate minority. We're also viewed as sneaky, deceitful people trying to bring down the downfall of Western civilization. And that was there throughout all the history of the U.S. It's sad to say that, but that was part of the U.S. history. Whether it's the cartoons that depicted us in a certain way, to public officials calling the coronavirus, the China virus, the Kung flu, all that is painful. That's painful for us. And because our voices are not heard, the view of us is distorted. That leads to ignorance, anger, and sometimes that leads to violence. We're here to raise our voice so that we do not allow these distortions to continue. We cannot allow these harmful stereotypes to continue.
We are here today in solidarity to honor the lives lost from the recent tragedy. We will know their names and we will know their stories. I will listen to the names, and at the end, we will have a moment of silence. Hyung Jung Kim, age 51. Her eldest son considered her both his mother and a friend. She was fun, hardworking, and loved to dance. They would go for sushi dinners before she left for work. Before coming to America, she taught elementary school in Korea. Xiao Jae Tan. Those who knew Xiao Jae called her a curious, hardworking, and caring woman who was always filled with joy. The next day would have been her 50th birthday, when she would have shared her favorite strawberry fresh cake with her only daughter, Delana Ashley Yen, age 33. Described by a friend as someone who seemed to have a light around her that just drew you in. She was a mother to a teenage son and a baby girl. She and her husband had gone for a couples massage the day of the shooting. Paul Andre Michaels, age 54. He grew up in Detroit to a big family, leaving to serve in the Army. He ultimately followed his father to Atlanta, where he did electrical work and met his wife. His brother described him as hardworking, generous, and caring. Elcius R. Hernandez Ortiz, age 30. He arrived from Guatemala a decade ago and opened his own auto repair business in Atlanta. He has a 10-year-old daughter whose birthday is next week. Elcius is now in the hospital due to injuries endured during the shooting. We are still waiting to learn more about the following victims: Soon Jung Park, age 74, Dao Yo Feng, age 44, Soon Ja Kim, age 69, Young A Yu, age 63. May their souls rest in peace.
So I just want to ask everyone here 3 questions today, just for all of us to think about together. The first one is, how have I been silenced and made invisible? Because many of us here, I would guess, have all known what it's like to be silenced, trivialized, and made invisible. For years of our lives at school and in the workplace, we have internalized what it means to not take up space. But finally, we have reached a turning point. The AAPI community is now saying, we will not be silenced. We will take up space. My second question to all of us: how have we been given access? The question is a challenge to all of us. I challenge each of us here today to think about how we have been given access, thanks to the many sacrifices of our parents, our grandparents, and generations before. We have opportunities, a level of privilege, and social and cultural capital that our parents never had access to. For many of us here in suburban New Jersey, we live in a world far, far removed from the realities of those in the inner city and in rural America. I taught in inner city Baltimore before I became a sociologist. My students told me that they saw their own sister get shot before their eyes. That is the reality of those living in the inner city. And that is the reality of those who got killed in Atlanta this past week. That brings me to my third question. How can we use our access and privilege to help others with even less? I say we because this is a collective effort with BIPOC and white allies to work towards greater equality and justice for all. This is not the time to sit on the sidelines. Today is our chance to get in the ring. Together we can advance justice and equality. To those who want to tokenize us, appease us with superficial symbolic gestures while they continue to hoard their power and wealth. We say, time's up. The show is over.
What I want to say is that discrimination and social injustice against the Asian is not new. It's just getting worse today because of a pandemic, because of many reasons. It's just getting worse. It's time for us to recognize that silence is not going to bring us to anywhere. It's just going to getting worse. We want to leave this world better for our children. Let's make our voice be heard. The voice we want to be heard by the others is that love. We want to love. Hate doesn't belong to our vocabulary. Doesn't belong to our community. Let's stand in together. Let's tell the world that we are all equal. This is a message we want to tell the neighbors. Well, this is a message we want to tell our children, that this is the community for them. This is the country for them, regardless of their heritage. That's why I'm here. And thank you all for coming here. I think we're all here together. Thank you all.
My name is Bo Shaw. I live in Edison since 1996. Okay. I came to the United States 31 years ago. Okay, no more to say. Silence is not gold. Silence is nothing. Okay. What do we do after the demonstration? What's the next? What do we do? Another demonstration? Okay, first, vote. Number one, vote. Number two, actively support your local politician, especially Asian. All right. Third, actively participate and join local community meetings. Raise your voice. Okay, when somebody doing something legally and violent your right, talk it. It's free. All right. Township meeting, board of education meeting, council meeting. All right, that's local. You will feel you are important. Last, number 4. We are tiger daddy and tiger mom. Okay, push your kids to the Ivy League is the important. But more important, coach your children, grandchildren, to communicate efficiently. Yeah. And to talk, public speak, talk. When somebody violates your right, speak out. And for the Chinese parents, for the Asian parents, okay, I have to say, I've been teach and coach since we were children. Silence is the gold, and the talk is the silver. In the United States, in the Western culture, talk and yell and speak out is the gold. Silence is what? Not the silver, not the bronze. It's nothing. They treat you as nothing, because when they do something to you, they violate your right, you are silent. They say, okay, I can do that again.
So right now we've had a couple speakers. We've already started the chanting, no place for hate. And right now what we're doing is making our way to the North Plainfield-ish area, making our way up Route 27, just because Route 27 is a big hub for Asian culture here in Edison, New Jersey. And already we're seeing a lot of support from drivers coming by. A lot of people beeping, a lot of smiles going our way, a lot of positivity going our way. So let this be a lesson to anyone who wants to show some hate towards any type of culture, really. People will always stand against it. There will always be love that will always transcend hate. You hear that solidarity right there.
We are not a virus. 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 Stop Asian hate! 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 Stop hate! Stop violence! Stop hate! Stop violence! Stop hate! Stop violence! Stop hate! Stop violence! Stop hate! Stop hate! Stop hate! Stop violence! Stop hate! Stop violence! We all belong here! 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 This is what America looks like! 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 This is what America looks like!
So we just finished up with the Stop Asian Hate rally. It was a really good turnout, honestly. It was really dope. There were a lot of people supporting, whether they be on the grass or walking or even just posting up, showing their love. And it was actually really great because we actually got to see a lot of love from the drivers that came by. A lot of people were honking their horns, showing solidarity and love for the people who, you know, that are normally not seen. It was a great time. Shout outs to the group. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, shout outs to the group that put it all together. I'll have their Instagram right down here so that you guys can follow them and, you know, be able to support such a great cause, because it's not the last time you're going to be seeing of them. I'm sure you're going to see a lot more that are popping up, you know. But I'm going to cut from here back to my room, all right? See you guys. All right. Hey guys, welcome back to my place. We just got home from the rally over in Edison, New Jersey. Really great meeting all the people that were out there. You know, it was very positive. Now, I just wanted to take the time now. I wanted to do a video like this, but I figure now is the best time. I just wanted to talk about my origins as far as when I first moved here from Queens, because originally I was born in 1988 over in Queens. Grew up in Jamaica, Queens, ended up moving over to Ozone Park, and you know, I was very exposed from a very young age to a lot of different cultures and a lot of different accepting people of who I was, who my family was, just because it was normal every single day to be able to see many different people of different cultures. And it wasn't until, I believe, 4th or 5th grade when I had moved from Queens all the way here to Freehold, New Jersey. A huge change, because we're talking about going from a place that's very urban, very culturally dense, to a place that is very suburban and taken over by a lot of, I guess you could say, more wealthy, well-off. Basically what I'm trying to say, it was very rich and vanilla out here. There weren't exactly a lot of minorities out here, and a lot of the people out here weren't exactly exposed to seeing other cultures. Matter of fact, the only other culture I really saw out here, or rather what people were exposed to, were a lot of the Hispanic population that was here working, doing landscaping, helping build the houses out here. We moved from basically a small house to an apartment, and then to this very suburban house in this very suburban neighborhood. Like, I had no idea what a development was, let alone I had no idea what a cul-de-sac was, when people would even mention what a cul-de-sac is. I remember seeing the cows and the grass, and all I remember thinking to myself is, how different this place was. I wasn't exactly happy, more confused, I would say, as to how I'm supposed to adjust to this way of living. From there to here, I started in a new school, one that was like right across the street from my development, and I was brought in as basically like this kid from Queens. From the very second that I was brought into my classes and brought into this new school, I had already felt like I didn't belong. See, I'm very awkward, and I mean, growing up wasn't any different either way. I was brought into my new school, and all of a sudden it's like I already kind of felt like I didn't belong. I mean, of course, moving from one place to another, you're gonna feel like you don't belong. But right off the bat, it's like all these kids already right there were alienating me for who I was. I wasn't very familiar with the school system, nor was I very familiar with a lot of other things out here. So I actually showed up to my first day of school wearing my old school uniform because I had went to a Catholic school when I was living in Queens. So I thought, hey, it'd be appropriate to do that since we weren't exactly sure what the dress code was. And already from the get-go, a lot of people were already laughing at me, like pointing fingers, calling me weird. And of course, you know, I was that Asian kid with like the bowl cut, and a lot of people were once again pointing fingers, calling me weird because I had a bowl cut while everyone had like this little boy band flippy hairstyle. This is like 1998, I believe, okay? So bear with me. It wasn't until 5th, 6th grade that we started getting more familiar with what I was supposed to look like out here. My parents always bought me like clothes from like Children's Place in Gymboree, which I know sounds a little crazy now. That's kind of what we were exposed to in New York. And it came to a point where, you know, I believe it was maybe like 1999-ish that all the kids around me were starting to wear like Abercrombie and Fitch and Abercrombie. And at that point, it was like I was being made fun of because I didn't wear these certain brands. And already I was just being alienated like crazy. Like, to think like going as far as to making fun of someone's style, making them feel like they don't belong, it was very confusing for me, honestly. And it brings up so much pain because I remember coming home to my parents crying like, Mom, Dad, I don't fit in, I don't feel good here, everyone's mean to me, they're always making fun of me, I just don't feel like I belong. And honestly, I haven't made a lot of friends, and it's something just doesn't feel right here. Right when my parents like started feeling bad and started shopping for me and buying me Abercrombie and all that, the kids that I was around started losing track of things to make fun of me for. It's kind of crazy because they immediately like reverted their attention away from what I was wearing, because honestly I blended, like I was doing my best to blend in as much as possible, which is very different from what I am now, but I was trying to blend in as much as I possibly could, wearing the right shoes, wearing the right pants, wearing the right shirt, everything was fine, bringing in the right foods to be able to eat during lunch, getting my meal tickets, being able to eat the cafeteria food no matter how awful it was, because that's exactly, for some odd reason, what everyone ate and was proud of eating. Once they lost count of things to be able to make fun of me for, that's when it started really hitting. You see, there weren't a lot of Asians in my school growing up. If anything, I remember only one Chinese kid, and I hate to put it this way, but it was like a fulfilled stereotype. Like, he had like, you know, the button-down shirt tucked into some khaki trousers with some dress shoes, thick glasses, and like just like Asian froed hair. You know, everyone kind of just left him alone because he wasn't exactly trying to fit in, whereas I was. And all of a sudden, like, it's like new words started coming up, and that's when I first started hearing the word chink. And that's where it really started hitting me, that everyone started calling me chink, or telling me that I don't belong because I'm from China. And I'm saying there, I'm like, listen, I'm not from China, I'm from the Philippines. And I explicitly remember like one argument just going straight from me saying, dude, I'm not Chinese, chill out, to him just going, oh, it's okay, you're still Asian, you know, you still have the small penis. Like, bruh. Oh, the amount of things. Every single day it was a new thing. It came to the point people were like starting to steal things from me. I remember when iPods and MP3 players were becoming a hot thing, some kid like ended up stealing my MP3 player and going through my stuff at the same time. And when I tried getting it back from him, all he kept yelling at me was chink and small penis. And it just made me feel horrible, like as if I didn't belong there. And throughout most of high school, I just never felt like I fit in. As the years went by, more Asians started surfacing, but a lot of us were just quiet for the most part. Sure, there were a couple that were there and they were integrated into certain groups, but that doesn't go for the majority. And it wasn't until probably like my third year high school, I got into a fight that was able to get my schools transferred. And it wasn't exactly the best thing in the world, because the high school I originally was at was actually in a less wealthy part of Freehold. I'm straight out to say in a poor part of Freehold, and was a lot more diverse. But then the school I was transferring to was actually like 2 minutes down the street from my house. And lo and behold, like this school that was right by my house actually like kind of opened my eyes, just because there were like more people in there of different cultures. And the funny part is, the minorities that ended up being in that new school that I was at was an oppressed group of people, mostly because these were ESL students who didn't know much English and were learning it for the first time as freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors. And being exposed to that and hearing what other classmates around me had to say, first of all, a lot of when I transferred over to that school, people automatically assumed that I was an ESL kid. Just because the way I looked, the way I dressed, the way I carried myself, the way I talked, everyone thought that I was an ESL kid and that I belonged in their hallway. And it's kind of crazy because all the ESL kids, all their lockers were literally in the same hallway. The way it usually went was all the freshmen would have a certain area, then the sophomores would have a certain area, then the juniors would have a certain area, then the seniors would have a certain area. It wasn't that way at this school for ESL kids. ESL kids from freshman to senior year all had one very small section to have their lockers and to hang out and have all their classes at. So they were already being separated from basically the more wealthy, I'm gonna say it's flat out, most of the white kids. All the ESL kids were a mix of Indian kids, Hispanic kids, and Asians, whether it be Korean, Chinese, Filipino. And it wasn't until then that, weirdly enough, I do feel like I belonged. Because a lot of the people there, when I would hear my white classmates talking about them, they would be putting them down. They would make jokes about like all these ESL kids cutting their lawns, or like doing deliveries, or illegally crossing the border. Like, that ain't right. Making fun of their Spanish, making fun of their Hispanic food. It just goes to show, like, it was much more further that the more I went to my classes that weren't with the ESL kids, the more I felt like I didn't belong, even more so than before. I ended up finding a place where I belonged in that school with the STEP team. Basically, every single minority in the school joined the STEP team. We ended up getting first place. We ended up getting some rep. A lot of people started respecting the ESL kids more because a lot of them were on the STEP team. And we were a first place winning team. And we had break dancers, which for some odd reason made us super popular. You know, high school's weird. Especially back in like the early 2000s. It's crazy. I didn't really have much of a problem going into college, like Brookdale, and then even like running back to New York to get my fashion degree. Like, I didn't really experience much there as far as the hate goes, just because at that point I think everyone has already been exposed to like other cultures, and even just being back in New York, everyone there is exposed to every single culture at that point. So that wasn't as much of a problem. It wasn't until when I came back from New York and moved back to my parents' house here in Jersey that I started like feeling like I didn't belong again. I remember very vividly going out with Filipino friends from high school, and we were meeting up, catching up. We ended up hitting up a bar over down here in Freehold, and out of nowhere, it's like they ended up bringing up a whole thing about like, oh, you still hang out with Asians? Oh, all your friends are Asian. The only people that you get along with are Asians. Ha ha ha. And then just like laughing at me, poking jokes at it, and I'm like, bruh, look at the color of your skin. Look in the mirror. Like, we the same. And you're making fun of me because I'm hanging out with someone who's not white? Like, come on, man. And that's when I like, and I'm not big on cancel culture, but I haven't talked to those people since. It just rubbed me the wrong way. It wasn't the type of people that I wanted to bring around me, because it brought me down, and it just made me feel more and more like I didn't belong. Somewhere in between there, I was a part of the New Jersey dance community, which is predominantly Asian, but this was from like, I'd say about maybe like 2010 to like 2016, maybe even earlier than that. My whole experience with that is like, even then, here in Jersey, a part of like the New Jersey dance community, I don't mean to knock on y'all, but like, I've never ever felt like I found a place where I belonged. It's just saddening to always look at it that way, especially since we all share something we all love. I mean, I don't know if anyone thought I had any ulterior motives with dance or like different ambitions. I mean, some people are in it for different things. I just personally love to dance, love to vlog, love to record things, love to talk to people about it, and when I'm into something, I'm really obsessed. But for some reason, it's like, I just felt like that was a community where I just never belonged, which is why I'm kind of here where I'm at today, talking to you guys about this. We need to be able, as an Asian community, we need to be able to build each other up. We need to be able to support each other. We need to be able to band together, you know? We need to be able to represent as a community. We need to show America what unity looks like, what togetherness looks like, and not push the other people away. Because I think that's probably one of the biggest things I hate, is like the clickiness of it all. Like, yeah, we have our own group of friends and whatnot, but like I said before, I don't think here in Jersey, I don't think I've ever found a place where I truly do belong. Because from the second that I stepped foot in this state, I've been alienated by racists, alienated by hateful people. And those hateful people now, the people that made fun of me when I was younger, these are the same people posting up, saying things like, oh, this is happening to Asian people because COVID-19 came from China. Don't blame the president, blame China. China brought this upon you. No. And no one should ever have to defend why violence and hate is right. Coming forward right now with my story of how I've never fit in around here, how hate has always tried following me wherever I go, I want this to be a message to everyone that hate shouldn't be a thing. We shouldn't hate each other. We should love each other. Because love, honestly, like as cliche as it sounds, love makes the world go round. It's not something that we should fake. It's something we should be genuine about. See, the thing is, there's so many different people in this world. There's so many different personalities, so many different preferences. You know what? I accept every single person the way that they are. Loving others is something that I always strive for as much as possible. If I ever say anything wrong about anyone, I usually catch myself. I feel guilty, I apologize the best I can. And if there's anyone watching this, if I've ever hurt you, I am sorry. From the bottom of my heart. I'm sorry for anything that I have done to you. I'm sorry for offending you. I'm sorry if you were one of the people I fought in high school when I was lashing out. Just know that that violence came from confusion. The hatefulness came from confusion, and I'm not the same person I used to be back then. That person was a product of being fed hate from the very start of his life in Jersey. I'm not saying all of Jersey is bad. From what I've been exposed to, I haven't been the biggest fan. And I'm still, to this day, at the age of 32, I'm still trying to find a place where I belong out here. I'm glad that both my brother and sister have found places where they belong, and also my parents. But for me, the search is never ending. I'm glad for the friends that I've made out here, and I'm glad that they're always here to support, whether it be New Jersey or New York. Like, I love all of you, and I thank you all so much for doing what you do. And to my viewers right now, thank you for getting this far in the video. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for subscribing to my content, or even just being faithful and watching my content. It really does mean a lot. Know that I'm not trying to do this for money. I'm not trying to do this for fame. I mentioned in my last videos that I'm doing this because my therapist actually recommended it and told me to keep going. And it's crazy because therapy was probably one of the best things for me. We had a lot of talks on this subject about being exposed to like hate and not feeling like I belong, and it just sucks because like I had to end therapy prematurely last Tuesday because my therapist over at the clinic I was going to, she ended up having to quit because she's starting her own practice, which unfortunately doesn't accept my health insurance. And the clinic right now is scrambling around looking for someone to replace her to be on my case. So hopefully, praying very hard that that happens very soon. So yeah, summing this all up, I know there's other people that share the same story I have. If you've ever been hated on, discriminated against because of your race, whether you're Asian or not, I know we all feel the same way. I know we all started off confused. There's a chance that you guys may have lashed out the same way I have. Just hoping my story brings all those other stories to light. Also, highly in support of the hashtag Stop Asian Hate movement. Also, hashtag Black Lives Matter. Both movements, any movement really that pushes forward a culture that is discriminated against and hated on, especially for where you come from, the color of your skin. No one deserves to be culturally discriminated against. And that's any culture, whether it be Indian, Asian, Black, Hispanic, even Italian, Irish, Jewish. Don't matter who you are who you are, and you are loved. And you don't deserve any hate coming your way. So let's keep it going. I want to tell everyone that's going to be going to rallies, protests, demonstrations and all that, be safe. Please be safe. I actually had to break up what could have potentially been a fight today. Some guy was following someone in our group and started taunting her, and I had to pull that person away and just be like, yo, it's not worth it. Anyone going to these demonstrations, rallies, and protests, stay safe, stay vigilant, stay on top of things, look out for your group, look out for your friends, because honestly, the enemy is just gonna come after us and try bring the ugliest thing out of us, and we don't want to stoop down to that level. Of course, if you are being attacked, stand up, take care, fight back, defend yourself, but don't be the first one to throw the first punch. We're better than that. This going out to you guys. I know this is a bit of a personal, long one and a lot of talking, but I feel like it's the right time for us to talk about this. Because like I've said, I've been discriminated against for so long out here, and it's been a long ride, and we're getting to the point where enough is enough. Thank you very much, people. Not talking about fashion in this video. That's not what's important now. If you like what you see, please subscribe, hit the bell, comment. The algorithm likes that. I'll be seeing you next vlog, all right? And shout out to the people who put together the whole thing. Their link or Instagram is right down here. I'm just gonna insert it right here. Go follow them. It was great being out there. Really happy to be a part of it. Really happy to be a part of the movement. All right, see you guys later.